Howdy YouTube. Today we're taking a look at the Action Man, James Bond Agent 007 from Goldeneye. Certainly something I picked up very recently that I've wanted to get for a long time. As a kid, Action Man was pretty much where it's at. When they announced a limited edition series of James Bond figures, as a kid, that was the coolest thing of all time. I actually picked up the complete set except for Goldeneye by pure fluke the other day. Actually, with some friends, stumbled across a pretty much not a hidden comic shop, but one that I never knew existed. And one of my friends actually found it, pointed it out. We went up there, and they happened to have this guy, and I was very excited to finally pick it up and complete the set. It comes in some very old school, very cool looking packaging. At the top there, obviously, we see the Action Man logo. Comes with a film frame as well, which is pretty cool. And then as we scroll down, just the beautiful James Bond artwork from what is probably my favorite James Bond movie. Really great. We see obviously there the scene where the plane gets shot down, flying over Cuba. We've got the awesome tank scene. Just great artwork. It looks like it's been drawn at some point in time, which is really cool. You don't get that on today's figures. And then a nice shot, obviously, of James Bond there with I guess the laser grapple gun that he uses at the very start of the movie when he leaps off there. Really great opening scene. Really great battles throughout the movie. Lots of action. It's got to be, I think, the best James Bond. Maybe on par with Skyfall. For me, this was the first Bond movie I ever saw, and it hooked me straight away. Especially as a kid, there's just so much action and awesomeness, and nice shot there of James Bond with Natalia. Very nice. At the bottom there, we see it says limited edition James Bond 007. Really cool, and a very neat piece to finally pick up. Taking a look at the back of the packaging, we see the Goldeneye logo and then some stills from the actual movie itself. Some of the main scenes, of course. Obviously, that's the prelude to the tank chase. That's right at the start with Alec or 006, which is really cool. The train scene as well. More scenes from the opening. And it's just such a good movie, and really cool that they did a deal with the Action Man figures to license James Bond. I think that's awesome. Other figures in the set at the bottom, of course, are Sean Connery from Thunderball, Tomorrow Never Dies, Pierce Brosnan, and I think the 1998 obviously is the year that these came out. Then we've got Goldeneye and The Spy Who Loved Me. From memory, I think these are the only movies that the Action Man figures came out from. Whether they didn't sell well or it was only like the favourite movies of the toy company or what, I'm not sure why there was only 4 figures released. There was a 5th later on, which was from The World Is Not Enough, where he's in the Eastern European communist type blue gear. But other than that, they never really released any more figures, and it was always a shame because it was such a good run of the ones that they did. So let's check this guy out a little bit more. And here we have the inside of the packaging. One thing I absolutely love is that they've gone to great detail and great length to recreate that opening Soviet chemical plant scene. You can see nice detail at the top here, and then the backdrop behind the figure is obviously the chemical weapons facility that both 006 and 007 sneak into and eventually blow up. Really awesome, like really cool figure. I love it because whether you want to keep it on display or open it up, there's such a nice backdrop and diorama there that either way, you can't really go wrong with this guy. He comes with some cool accessories as well. He comes with obviously his trademark Walter PPK with a silencer, the grapple gun, the Goldeneye key, which even though it wasn't in this particular scene, the fact that they include it is fantastic because it's such a key part of the movie itself. Now, I'm actually not going to open this guy up just yet, and the main reason for that is I'm going to do a proper full review on him as it gets closer to the new James Bond movie that's coming out later this year, of which they have started filming. One thing I always thought was interesting is that with all the James Bond figures, they always kept that trademark Action Man scar. And as a kid, I never wondered why, but obviously it is pretty much a straight-up Action Man that they have just rebranded with James Bond packaging. Still really cool, great accessories. He obviously comes with a utility belt as well. Really, really keen to get this guy opened up, but unfortunately I'm going to have to wait just a little bit. But really, really nice, and at least the packaging is good enough, I guess, to keep him on display in. Now, on the other side of the card, we see a nice frame from the movie. Really awesome how they've done this here, as it's kind of like a benchtop table with all the equipment scattered around it. The video game as well was such a pioneering first-person shooter. Again, my favorite video game of all time would have to be Goldeneye. So many awesome memories playing that as a kid. It was really, really fun. It basically broke the mold and brought first-person shooters into that 3D environment on the Nintendo 64. And it's a shame that no other James Bond game has really been able to continue that success. But really, Call of Duty, trying to think of some of the other shooters that have copied off it. You know, the Battlefield series, all those games are basically credited to GoldenEye breaking that ground. And it's even more special because it obviously has a lot of sentimental value for me when I was little. The read up there, I'll bring it forward so you guys can see. Multilingual, just in case, of course. After a 6-year gap since the previous 007 film, Pierce Brosnan brings James Bond into the 1990s in this spectacular adventure. Bond's mission to retrieve a Russian weapon system called Goldeneye before the Janus crime syndicate cripples London and destroys the world's financial markets. A heart-stopping bungee jump, followed by a motorcycle chase, chasing a plane off the edge of a mountain, is just for starters. That was an epically awesome opening scene. And then the next movie as well with the jet fighter battle was really good too. 007's assignment takes him to Monte Carlo, St. Petersburg, Cuba to bring down his friend turned enemy Alec Trevelyan and the beautiful and deadly Xenia Onatop. Nice play on words there with the last name. Bond's helpers include the Russian computer programmer Natalia and an array of vehicles varying from his Aston Martin DB5 to his new Q car, the BMW Z3, and a tank which creates mayhem through the streets of St. Petersburg. Fantastic. Such a good movie. Such a cool-looking figure. And I was very, very excited that I found it by pure fluke. Finally, I'm able to complete the set. I've got him here with the other Pierce Brosnan James Bond figures that were released. Awesome figure. If you get a chance, any one of these is well worth picking up. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed this review on the Action Man 007 James Bond from Goldeneye.